Alright, so let's take a look at where we left off last time. As I move around this level here, you can see I'm able to destroy objects. But we noticed last time there was a fundamental flaw in our setup, and that is that when we collect or we select these objects, the coins disappear and we have no way of tracking them because we're deleting them from the scene. So for that, we want to sort of create a game manager. And we'll attach that game manager for now to our canvas. So let's go up to game object here and then go to UI and then just create a text field or text mesh pro field. Now you're going to have to import in the text mesh pro essentials. So I'm going to click on that and we'll let it do its thing. And I'm actually uploading this to the Plastic SCM server, so you'll see that pop up quite a bit. And then I'm just going to go ahead and close this out. Now, you can see it down here in the corner. So if I select this and I hit F to focus, for now what I want to do is I'm going to move it up to the top. Now, if you click here, this gives you your anchor presets. This is where the positioning is. So see how this is in the center and then your anchor is in the center. If I hold the Alt key down, I can actually move it up to the corner. You could see it here. Just kind of gave me a little bit of time. Since we don't have this really set up for the right aspect ratio of our game, because this is more of a practice game, I want to have it sort of positioned here so we can see it. So select whatever you think would be cool. And then let's make the font size pretty big. And let's also increase the size of our box here so that it encompasses this. We're going to be using code to update this, so don't worry too much about this. So let's go ahead and hit Control S to save this. And then in our scripts folder here, maybe we can create another script and we'll call this Object Manager. For now, I'll just grab this Object Manager script and I'll just drop it on top of our canvas. So let's double check. It looks like it didn't go through. So I went ahead and grabbed my Object Manager and I just dropped this script right on top of the canvas. And there it is. Let's go ahead and double click it and we'll jump into Visual Studio and we'll take a look at how we can script this. Alright, so at the top here, we're going to go ahead and add a using directive, and it's TM Pro semicolon. This is what's going to give us access to the libraries that have that control Text Mesh Pro. The next thing I want to do is I want to create a variable, and what this variable is it's going to allow other scripts to access this. And it's part of a specific design pattern, and we're going to get into design patterns in another class. But for now, just know that if we create a variable with the name of the same class here, so let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to make this a public variable, and I'm going to call this Object Manager, and I'm going to give it the data type instance. And in my start method, I'm just going to say instance equals this. So instance is currently storing a reference to this script. So if we call this instance from other scripts, we'll be able to access anything that's inside of here. And if you recall, this manager is our object manager, and we're going to use it to maybe update the HUD. And maybe we could have named it like Coin Collector or HUD or whatever, HUD Manager. But for now, we're going to use this to increment our coin or our HUD in the scene. All right, let's make another variable. We're going to do public. Actually, I like that. TMP underscore text dash text. And I'm hitting tab to let it auto-populate. So what this is going to be is we're going to save this and we're going to drag in our text box and into this public variable. And then we want to create another variable which is public just so we can see it in the viewport. And this is going to be called, this is going to be of type int, and it's going to be called coins, and make this equal to 0 so we can see that. So let's go ahead and save this and jump back in Unity and set this up. So here we are back in Unity. I'm going to select my canvas and I'm going to shrink this down. You can see here we have an instance to this object manager, and then we have a text box here. So I'm going to grab this text TMP Pro box here and I'm just going to set it in there, and I'm going to save this. And we're going to jump back into Unity now, and we're going to take a look at how we can update these coins here through the script. All right, so let's go ahead and work with this. And you know, we'll name this points text. I think that might be cooler than just text. So what we can say here is points text dot, and then you can see it gives us all these options, right? Here's like points text dot text equals, and this is going to give us the text that's in there. Put and we can do points, colon, and then let's put a semicolon at the end. And let's save this and return to Unity and see how it updates in our scene, because we're referencing that same text object. And let's see how it updates it with the word points. All right, so now when I press play, it looks like it didn't set the object. Let's see, what's going on here? Oh, it looks like it didn't save the canvas because I set it up in play mode. So let's go ahead and drag this back in here. And let's press play now and see what happens. You can see it updated the word to points, which is pretty cool. But as I scroll through this, you can see it's not saying points plus the points in our scene. So let's go ahead and knock that out so that it increments the number of points. All right, so what I can say here is I can add to or concatenate by hitting plus. Now, the text box here is a string, which means it uses letters. And this is an integer, which is numbers. So we need to say coins plus toString. And what that'll do is that'll convert the coin value, which is 0 here, to a string. So let's save this and let's return to Unity and see if we get points, colon, and then 0 here. All right, we're back in Unity. Let's press play. And it looks good. We got points equals 0. But one more problem as we go through this and I'm collecting these, we're not actually updating or incrementing any of these points. So let's create a method in Visual Studio that'll increment these points that we can call every time one of these coins is destroyed. Let's return to Visual Studio. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this method that's here that's called update because I'm not using it now. And I'm going to just rename this. Instead of update, it'll be update points. So as we're making it our own method, I'm going to pass an integer in here called point. And what I can say here is coins equals coins plus, let's make this points. And I don't know why I'm calling it coins. We really should just call it points. Well, I guess we're collecting coins. So yeah, we'll just do points here. Hopefully that's not too confusing. So let's save that off. Coins equals coins plus points. And then what I want to do is I want to grab this and I want to update it again in here. So that what we're doing here is we're actually saying points equals this coins variable here. So we have coins here, and then we're just saying points.text equals points. So we're just updating it. So as we call this update points method, and we'll make this public just to be safe, we'll save this. And let's return to our pickup script and access this. All right, so here we are back in. I'm going to go ahead and delete these two out just for clarity. And what we can do is we can get rid of this count here, and this public int count. So what we're going to do is, if you recall, we have this object manager. So I'm going to access this object manager script that use this instance variable to call this and pass in the number 1. So let's go back into our pickup script here. And the way you call a variable from another script is you literally just write the name of the script. So here's object manager, so that's referring to it. And I need to create a variable that's going to store a reference to this. Well, we created that other variable in the scene. So here's object manager. And I want to access that instance, which will give me access to anything within there. Oops. Let's see, instance. It looks like we have a little error here. Let's take a look at why that is. We have public object manager instance. Oh, I forgot one key thing here. If we want to be able to access this in any script, we have to use the keyword static. So public static object manager instance. And now we can use this to access it anywhere. So let's go back again. Let's type in instance. It should pop up. There we go. Dot. And then what we want to do is we want to use this update points method. Remember, we have to pass in a value. So dot update points, and then it has a value. It's giving us an error here, and it says there's no argument that corresponds with points. And what it means is the argument is this here. So let's say we want to give it 1 point every time we pick up this object. Now you can reuse this script a bunch of times and you can change this to 10 or whatever. And then we're going to destroy this object. So I'm going to save this and let's return to Unity and see if this works. All right, here we are. So I'm going to press play here. And as I go to collect these, you can see we get 1, we get 2, we get 3. And let's go ahead and just copy a bunch more of these, right? So let's select all 3 of these. I'm going to hit F to focus in the scene. And I'm going to go ahead and hit Control D. And let's move these out. Something like this. Let's grab this ground plane. And what we can do is Tools, Pro Builder window. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab these verts here and just scale up my ground plane a little bit. And I'm doing it this way instead of hitting R so that the texture updates. Move this out this way. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control S. Let's press play. We're going to have some fun here. Move around, collecting objects. Moving a little too slow for my liking, but we got it. We almost got it. All right. Now what you can do is you can figure out, and we'll cover this in the next lesson, a win-lose scenario. But for this project, some of the additional assignment elements could be adding the main menu from the previous lesson, but you can challenge yourself a little bit more and then have it where if you select so many objects, you can have it win or lose. Another thing that you can have it do, like you can have it say you win or you lose up in this area here. You can add particle effects so that as you go through, it sparkles like from the space game. So always try to one-up the assignment. That's it for this tutorial.